that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
43 drivers ready to take off for 250 miles at Michigan. And some pretty big names start pretty far back. The Command from Michigan is coming up next on TNT. Live NASCAR Busch Series racing just ahead here on TNT here in Michigan. Everybody's safely parked. The campfires have been put out for now, and the grills are quiet, at least until later this afternoon, because everybody's ready to go Busch Series racing. And here to call it for you are three happy campers, Scoutmaster Alan Bestwick along with Wally Dallenbach and Benny Parsons.
Some campers happier than others, but that's a long story from last
Very
night.
long.
Yes, it was. You know, where I grew up going to weekly short track races in New England, what got me hooked on this sport, they'd run a 30-35 lap feature on a Saturday night with the guys who'd done the best in the last 3 weeks, starting like 20th in a 24-car field and a very short time to get to the front. We've got a similar situation today. Very experienced, very fast Cup guys in the back chasing these young NASCAR Busch Series guys starting up front in a short race. Can they get there?
They can get here. Michigan, the one thing about this race is usually there's a lot of green racing. There's not that many yellows, so that's the problem they have. One thing they have going for them today is they're going to get a competition yellow in about 20 laps, so that's going to race that distance between the leaders and them. Can they do it? Yes, but they got their hands full.
And it's a great racetrack to try to get to the front because it's so doggone wide. These guys can pass on the inside, outside. We'll see them 3, sometimes 4 wide on the straightaway, and this racetrack will accept that. So Michigan always lends itself to very competitive racing, and guys in the back can go to the front.
One thing very important, because we don't get many cautions, only average 2 yellows in a Busch Series race here, your car had better be right when this race starts. Not much chance to fix it up if it's not.
Now, there really isn't. But like Benny said, there's a lot of different places you can race on this racetrack. They'll be searching for a lot of different grooves, and that's a big help here.
All right, so we'll see what happens. Mark Martin and Rusty Wallace, 2 of the biggest names in the game, starting in the very back of the field, and only 250 miles to get to the front. So good weather, good crowd, and looking forward to good racing. Right now, let's go trackside for the Command to Start engines to get today's 250-miler underway.
And now, race fans, with those most magic words of motorsports, our Grand Marshal Dave Rohr.
On behalf of all the sportsmen and sportswomen who enjoy and love the great outdoors, I'd like to welcome you to the Cabela's third 250. Now, drivers, start your engines.
Winds up in victory lane today will have gone pretty fast to get there. This track holds the record for the fastest ever NASCAR Busch Series race. The green flag is next. Those hands that are not in the air yet, so it'll be a second before the field rolls off the pit lane and onto this 2-mile track. How about a look at the Castrol GTX starting grid for today's race? Qualifying rained out, as Bill told you. Field lined up according to the rule book, top 35 by order of owner points.
You see Truex and Busch, both those guys we told you have won 4 times. Greg Biffle on the inside of row 3, he's won 4 times this year.
Kevin Harvick, defending champion of this race. Bobby Hamilton Jr. will not start from row number 4. His team changed an engine this morning. A couple of engines in the 2 days they've been here. He'll be going to the back of the field.
Back in row 7 on the inside, Stacy Compton and Tim Fedewa. Kenny Wallace on the outside of row 8, and David Stremme outside of row 9. Johnny Sauter, the guy who kind of dominated the win last week, or dominated the race in RP, would finish 2nd spot.
And Robbie Gordon, another that will go to the back because of an engine change. While we look at the rest of the starting field, Wally's got the radio microphone in hand. Who are you going to talk to?
I'm going to talk to Matt Kenseth back in 35th. Matt, this is Wally up in the booth. Can you hear me?
Gotcha, Wally.
Yeah, you guys didn't get much race practice. How did you come up with the setup that you have right now?
Good question. You know, we did get practice in the morning, and we decided to work on all race trim in the morning, so we didn't do any qualifying stuff. But we were kind of testing stuff. So the setup in the car we ended up right now is a little bit of a compromise between what we tested in the morning we thought was okay and the stuff we ran at California and what we ran here last year.
Well, at least where you're starting, you got to be kind of happy about this competition yellow they're going to throw. At least that races some of the distance for you between you and the leader.
Yeah, that'll be good, and hopefully the car will be under us in the start here, and we'll be able to make some hay in the beginning and get up through there. So it's a long ways to go, and you know, historically there's not a lot of caution, so that'll definitely help.
All right, good luck, Matt.
All right, thanks.
Matt seemed a little surprised at the quality of Wally's question.
I was up all night thinking of a question.
I'll bet you were. See the field rolling off. A couple of cars having some problems getting fired on the pit lane. And you see them being woven around by the rest of the field. Mike Wallace in the 4 car.
They said, gentlemen, start your engines, and Mike, being the gentleman he is, tried, and he would start.
And the other car is Bill Ebersol, who's a nearby driver from Chelsea, Michigan. Last year's ARCA Series Rookie of the Year, looking to make his Busch Series debut. That's Randy McDonald's team, and they can't seem to get that one fired up successfully either. So while they try to catch up to the field as the parade and pace laps begin, or I could say the paid laps begin too here in a minute. Let's check down on pit road. Marty, lead us off.
Alan, if confidence and momentum count for anything, Jason Leffler should be the runaway winner today. The hottest guy in the Busch Series, 3 straight third-place finishes for this team. And yesterday in the hour-and-a-half practice, this team practiced 56 laps. Jason said the car very good, especially on the long runs. Competition caution should put them in the window to make one more pit stop in this race and go all the way. Dave?
Marty, Bobby Hamilton Jr., one of last year's contenders for the championship, is again having trouble today with the motor. Alan mentioned that at the outset. They've changed the motor again, violating the 1 engine per weekend rule, and they will start at the back of this field. It's been a tough year for him already, and today another huge challenge for Hamilton. Matt?
Dave, you would think that Casey King would enter Michigan with loads of confidence and really jacked up about his chances today to go to victory lane after finishing second here in his last 2 NASCAR starts. But he told me that after the shortened practice, which the car was very tight, they have made a number of changes. Cautiously optimistic about his chances. He told me that he'll know how good of a race car they really have before the first lap is complete, and then they'll know how much they have to work on that race car to get it to victory lane today. He rolls off from the 10th position. Alan?
Okay. So some stories from some drivers who hope to contend in today's race as they complete the first of 3 parade and pace laps they'll make. There are the numbers on the day. The 2-mile track with 250 miles to be completed, so 125 laps, and that pit window always seems to be so big at this racetrack.
It really does, because, okay, it leaves up 125 laps, 105. So we see the pit window, 48 to 52. So it's 52 and a half.
One thing they don't show them, they show the money and all that stuff, but this is one of the coolest trophies that they give out, I think, at any of the races. Cabela's gives out a really cool-looking trophy with 2 bears on it.
A little slow getting off the pit lane for the scheduled start time because of the cars that had trouble. So let's squeeze in a commercial or 2 here. We'll come back for the green flag. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. Just day here in the Irish Hills of Michigan, vacation country for years from folks in the Detroit area and now from around various parts. Weather not quite summer-like today, though.
Beautiful. Just not quite perfect. It's only 64 degrees. I guess 68 would be perfect.
I don't know. You know, is that what it is? 68 is perfect.
On the Beniometer.
I would say it's perfect for these guys.
So, with a competition caution coming out at lap 20, how many spots do Mark and Rusty and those guys need to make up before lap 20?
You need to hustle. You need to try to get by as many cars as possible. And then when that yellow comes out, then you erase that gap. But I think it's real important. They've got to get busy here in 20 laps.
And then all the cars will be making pit stops, I would assume, at 20. And if there is some caution flags later on, then caution flag laps, they will try to make it on one more stop.
Championship leader Martin Truex on the front row with his title rival Kyle Busch as the field comes off of turn 4. Great crowd on hand here in Michigan today. They sold out of tickets for the Cup race tomorrow for the 28th straight time. They sold out of parking for campers and motorhomes on Monday last week, and they've got acres and acres of it here. The fans have come in from the campgrounds. They're on their feet now, and the pace car's off for the NASCAR Busch Series at Michigan. We're underway.
Trouble there. And a restart to David Green.
Look at Kevin Harvick drive to the inside and take the lead.
Well, maybe not.
Well, yeah.
See one car smoking in the back of the field. That is Steve Grissom in the 24. He is being black flagged by NASCAR. Former series champion with a tough start to his day.
And he told me yesterday he was concerned about the engine in the car.
Truex leads lap 1. Greg Biffle inside of Kevin Harvick for second. That little 3-wide racing farther back. We'll see plenty of that over the weekend here at Michigan.
Now they're starting to get the single file up front.
Problem with that 3-wide racing in the middle of the front stretch is when you get to the exit of turn 2, the momentum wants to carry everybody to the same one spot on the racetrack.
Yeah, and it definitely slows those 3 guys down compared to the guys that are running single file in front of you.
Jason Leffler, 0-0. Casey Mears in the 1. Marty's got more on Jason Leffler, who's dropped back a little bit. Marty?
Well, I think I might have put the jinx on him, Alan, because he had a problem before the green flag even dropped. Radio problems for Jason Leffler. He can hear the crew. They can't hear him. If you're going to have a radio problem, that's about the worst way to have it. Now, BP, do you remember your hand signals? What are they?
Well, if you
tap the door.
Tap the door, it's loose. Tap the roof, it's tight.
Very good, and that's what they've gone over with him. Spotter Eddie DeHaant's going to do the best he can, trying to guide Jason through the field, and calling from the pit box. Robert Booty Barker.
Got a car sideways. Michael Waltrip collected Matt Kenseth.
Came right up in the front of Matt Kenseth. Who's that?
That's Tracy Hines in the
6 car.
6 Ragu car. Michael Waltrip.
Go ahead and get on down here. Get ready, guys.
He's got a flat left front. And Matt Kenseth.
I'm surprised he's able to drive out of that grass as much rain as we had yesterday.
Matt Kenseth's got a lot of left front.
Yeah. That's the problem of starting in the back.
So caution out early in the race. Michael Waltrip getting spun around or spinning around, one of the two. And collecting Matt Kenseth in his skid down the front stretch. Let's see what happened.
See the 12 car, Tim Fido up on the very top. 59 of Stacy Compton in the middle, and Michael just by himself. Around he goes, and that's due from lack of practice.
Car got loose on him, and he was gonna get away with, I think, hitting anything, but unfortunately came right up in front of Matt. Matt had no place to go.
On board, this is Ashton Lewis looking ahead at Michael.
And Michael turned the car left to try to pass that car in front of him, and when he turned that wheel left, the back end just flew out from under him.
And whoever that car was in front of him got loose first.
Stremming.
See that little wobble there?
Well, you ever want a definition of what loose is? There it is.
Watch Gremmy's car. Right there, he's loose. That's really loose.
Yeah, that's really loose.
That's an ugly sound. We got to have at least one more shot of this, don't we?
Oh, yeah, one more.
Watch the guy squeeze by. Lewis, Nemechek.
And Kenseth really can't see anything in all that smoke.
Watch Robbie Gordon.
But
Kenseth
now he sees
Michael. Yield.
A lot of
that
damage.
Robert Presley, too. Just missed Kenseth. Okay. Well, we talked about the big name experienced guys in this race chasing the NASCAR Busch Series regulars. A couple of those big names in trouble early. Michael Waltrip and Matt Kenseth. And we're under caution for the first time in the Cabela's 250 at Michigan International Speedway.
Came in and pitted. Michael Waltrip said on the radio, I think I had a flat. It just went around on its own. They're checking all 4 tires, see if there was a cut on one of them, but so far they have not found one. Dave?
On the 17 car, Marty, the crew is going to work trying to find things that they can do to brace up that left front tire, or the left front fender. Sorry, a lot of going on down here in the 17 pitch. Yeah, they are tremendous damage on that left front, and as you know, Wally, that's the where they get most of the aero to hold that car down in the turn. Matt?
Dave, here in the Chance 2 pit, it was supposed to be a big weekend with new uniforms for Martin Truex Jr.'s team, but unfortunately with Tony Stewart's 81 car missed the race, their uniforms were not taken off the 81 haulers, so they're on their way back to Mooresville, North Carolina. So they're actually using Napa, Budweiser, even a Bass Pro Shop uniform of Martin Truex. Haskell Lavalette has on Martin's backup KFC uniform, so it's sort of DEI Chance 2 Sponsor Appreciation Day.
So
here in
a smorgasbord.
A smorgasbord of KFC and everything else.
A smorgasbord, Matt. You young guys aren't familiar with that term. It's not used much anymore, is it?
Benny, how's it pronounced?
I have no idea. But, you know, Matt Kenseth, as these cars come by to take the restart, he's going to lose a lap. They're working on the car, but he also, I think it's going to be held by the NASCAR officials. Maybe run the stop sign.
He ran the stop sign at the end of pit road. There's a spot on the track that once the pace car reaches that spot, they turn that stop and go sign at the end of pit road to stop, and he didn't make it. Besides the fact that he still had a fender rubbing on the left front tire and all the rest. So back up to speed. Martin Truex Jr. is the leader. Greg Biffle is second. Casey Kane is third in the opening laps shuffle. Kevin Harvick fourth and Kyle Busch fifth. And you've got Casey Mears, Jason Leffler, Ron Hornaday, Mike Bliss, and Jason Keller in 22 rounding out your top 10.
And a couple of guys we talked about earlier, Mark Martin and Rosie Wallace, are 25th and 26th. Well, they made some ground.
Oh, somebody that was Speedo, I think, just bounced off the wall in turn 4.
Challenge here.
Casey Mears, the 1 car, trying to get by the 21 of Harvick. Kyle Busch trying to go by Harvick on the outside. Kevin Harvick losing 2 spots, about to lose a 3rd. He did lose that 3rd spot to Jason Leffler.
He has been running that low line here, and it looks like he really can't keep his momentum up.
No, that's the hard thing about running Michigan. You got to have a lot of engine under that hood to run the low line here and be able to outrun somebody that's running the high line.
There are your top 2. Truex in the 8, Biffle in the 60, and the first challenge farther back. It's Ron Hornaday in the deuce on the move down low. That's 8th place.
Mike Bliss, the 20 car. About to lose another spot. Jason Keller, the blue and white car on the inside, and David Green behind the green and blue car.
Jason Keller starting in 9th place. Lost a couple of spots in the opening lap shuffle. Now trying to get him back. David Green in the 37 car started 6th. Lost some spots. Wow, look at Keller's car wiggle there when he tried to turn on it.
Looks like David Green is going to possibly get them both.
Kenny Wallace right behind.
Oh, it's going to get real crowded here in a minute.
Boy, it sure is. That Nemechek on the bottom in the 87.
Yes, sir.
The red and white car.
That's what makes this racetrack so fun to drive, that you can do this.
Joe Nemechek with a new crew chief this week. Gary Putnam, who was the crew chief over at Petty Enterprises for Jeff Green, and parted with that team 2 weeks ago.
Biffle is getting a challenge. Is that not Biffle there?
Yes, sir.
Casey Kane taking a look on the inside of Biffle, and Casey Mears running that high line has chased the leaders down in the 1.
Now this 1 car, BP, started 21st.
Wow. And that finish at Watkins Glen in the Nextel Cup race last week got him all pumped up.
Confidence is a great thing, isn't it?
It sure is.
Works. Casey Mears' best ever NASCAR Busch Series finish of 5th place at Talladega, April 2002, and he's working on 2nd place, Greg Biffle.
See how much momentum you have when you run that hot line getting off the corner. Now Biffle will run in, probably a little deeper. But if Casey Mears can keep that car rolling up on top, he should have the pass pulled off.
And he does.
Yep.
Easily down turn 1.
21st to 2nd in 13 laps. And some of those run under the caution flag. And now Kyle Busch trying to pick his way back through. Casey Kane is around the 60, and here comes Kyle in the 5. Fell back in the opening laps. Now obviously has the car situated underneath him. And right now we'll settle into 4th place. Now, how about Mark Martin?
How about it?
You talk about a charge. Mark is already up to 18th place in the 9 car. That's Mark in the yellow machine, hanging left, hook in the bottom.
That car is hooked up.
But, you know, in front of him is the 25 car, Bobby Hamilton Jr., who started back there with Mark Martin. Hey, Matt, what is Mark saying about his car?
Well, he's running in the 18th position. They still have a little bit of work to do to get it where Mark needs to have it. One thing he did notice running under those pace laps, remember, Mark is used to seeing the number 6. He could not pick out his signboard on pit road. They changed the color with tape, and they've gone back to his Nextel Cup garage to try to get his signboard for his Nextel Cup car to make it easier for him to not lose time on pit road, picking out his pit stall when he comes in for service.
That's a really good point, Matt, because when you come down pit road, you got 43 different teams with all different colors, and it's really difficult to pick out your own board, much less a different one.
Yeah, it sure is. And they'll probably have the team will count him down as he comes into the pits to help driver find that pit. 10, 9, 8, turn now. So that's how they'll help Mark as well.
Things heating up front. 2nd place, Kyle Busch in the 5. Trying to get around and reclaim that spot where he started from Casey Mears.
And, you know, these guys racing side by side is catching Mark Truex. Hey, Matt, how about the 5 car?
Well, the 5 car's on the bottom, the 1 car up top battling that 5 car. In fact, that team with Casey Mears had limited practice like a lot of teams, but he had even less time on the racetrack. They were battling a serious clutch problem. They had changed the whole clutch setup and bell housing without a lot of practice. They went back to their California notes, and also Casey helped out with some of his Cup notes from the Cup side. They're very confident, though. As you can see, that car really making some big headway trying to chase down the 8 of Truex.
Or very fast. Casey Mears off the turn.
Hangs on to 2nd, holding off the challenge of Kyle Busch for now. Here's Greg Biffle. And Casey Kane making up the rest of this 5-car lead group.
And Biffle, a 60 car, it looks like, Wally, he just does not want to go up on the top side of the racetrack. He wants to stay on the bottom to try to figure out what they need to do to keep on the bottom, but he doesn't have much choice. He's got to go up.
Came up on some lap cars. I thought Casey Mears had a run on him there. Not quite. While we watch this race for the lead, Dave is with a retiree from the race.
And it is Matt Kenseth. Matt, damage to the left front there. Just too bad to continue.
Yeah, I didn't think it was that bad, but it was taking a long time to get it fixed, and we're already 10 laps down or something, so there's no reason to limp around and be in the way. But I was excited for the race. Express Personnel Service was on board, and you know, you always want to do good for your sponsors. And this is one of the most fun tracks to race at and fun to race in the Busch Series. And I was by all the guys. I was worried about wrecking, and then Michael spun out up there somehow, and a lot of smoke. I couldn't really see where I was going, and 9 times out of 10 you'll choose right. I just chose to go the wrong way and ran into him.
Out way too early, Alan.
Matt Kenseth will join Steve Grissom, who has also gone to the garage and retired his car. We saw the smoke in the early laps from the 24 machine. Martin Truex Jr. out in front leading, Matt.
The last few laps, Alan, have been a great example of just how many different lines you can use here. Martin was in the middle with the 5 on the bottom and the 1 car up high. Now he has moved a little higher. The race car was loose earlier during this run, and it's gotten looser. They're telling him we're going to have a caution, competition caution. We will fix you up in a lap and a half.
Now, obviously, I was just going to say, so obviously they are going to come in, most of them, and make that pit stop and make those adjustments.
Now, Biffle, the 60 car, is starting to come back to the front. He gets by Kyle Busch, goes to the 3rd spot, and now seems to be faster than the 2 cars in front.
Well, you will search and search until you find what your car likes.
We're on board with Mark Truex Jr. 2nd place, Casey Mears. They are the 8th. First, 1 is
second. And should be coming around toward that yellow flag. When the teams don't get a lot of practice, NASCAR will sometimes throw a yellow flag a short distance into the race to allow them to change tires, get a look at what's coming off the car, make sure there are no severe handling issues that need to be addressed.
And make adjustments based on what the driver has felt for those first 20 laps or so.
So there are your top three. Kyle Busch just behind them in fourth. Marty?
Kyle said his car is tight. One thing Lance Bergreau, his crew chief, said to do, turn on the front brake fans. That has cooled those front tires. That's made the car better as the caution has come out now for the competition here at lap 20.
The way they don't race back to the yellow flag anymore, they wanted to make sure everybody had completed lap 20, and then they put the yellow flag out, freezing the field. So there you go. Truex Jr. leads all of the opening 20 laps so far. And you just have to be impressed with the run from the back into the top 15 by both Mark Martin and Bobby Hamilton Jr. VP, you mentioned him a minute ago.
Yeah, Hamilton Jr.'s up to 13th. Mark Martin up to 15th. Rusty Wallace is up to 20th spot. So all three of those cars made some really good progress from the very back of the field.
So you're allowed to change tires under the caution 3 times in this race. Do you take a set now?
Oh, sure. Because you probably, all things being equal, you might not stop it once more.
So the pit crews will get ready to go to work as we work the second caution flag of today's race. On the lead lap, 38 of the 43 starters. Only Tina Gordon and Kim Crosby had been overtaken by the leader on the track. And then the 3 cars that are in the garage and out of the race, Fuller, Kenseth, and Grissom. I wonder if we'll see some people take 2 tires here just to get some track position.
Well,
some of these guys back here, maybe 21st, 25th.
They probably will, but I think it'll bite them in the end.
Okay.
Johnny Sauter, Stacy Compton, some of those guys back 18th, 20th, they might try it. Mike Wallace back in 21st.
Look at that sky.
Magnificent.
Oh, what a beautiful day.
Direct opposite of yesterday.
We're glad you're there watching, but we'll tell you, the weather's great right here. So let's see how the pit crews do on this first set of stops. Truex will lead, followed by Mears, Biffle, Kyle Busch, and Casey Kane. 55-mile-an-hour pit road speed limit today. And here they come. Dave, you're first.
Greg Biffle had 2 problems getting into the center of the corner. They're going to make a track bar adjustment to help that. Getting off of the corner, they're going to make an air pressure adjustment to change that. And they will change 4 tires on this stop. Marty?
Dave's the winner in Indianapolis for the Busch Series. Kyle Busch hits pit road, started second, running 4th. His car tight behind others. They're going to go up on the track bar and 4 tires. They're also going to put a small piece of tape on the front grille, Matt.
On the top of your screen, championship point leader Martin Truex, you can already see the track bar adjustment has been completed. Down is the 5 cars away. They're also going to make an air pressure adjustment on the 8. That 1 car of Casey Mears was tight. They made an air pressure adjustment.
Well, we get the enjoyment of watching Casey Mears work his way through the field once again.
And we saw a lot of guys that looked like I was looking towards the end of pit lane that didn't do a whole lot.
I know at least 2 that took just fuel only. We'll double check the strategy for you and get set for the restart when we come back. From Michigan International Speedway, you're watching the NASCAR Busch Series. The second caution of the race wrap up, and some strategy played out under this yellow has shaken up the running order.
Yes, it has.
We'll check that out in a second. First, Jason Leffler back on pit road for a second stop.
He made contact with a car on pit road, and as you can see, they're trying to pull out the right front fender that he has damage on. Marty?
Yeah, he was running 5th BP when he hit pit road. Booty Barker also sent a crew member over to talk to Jason so he can make sure that the chassis information they have is correct. Because remember, Jason cannot talk to the crew. Booty said several times, be calm, just get the shape of the fender back. They topped it off with fuel. These guys can go 52 laps on fuel. This may actually help them because they are better on fuel mileage than a lot of the teams, and maybe they could go on 1 stop for the rest of the race. Jason very animated in the car, talking to the guy who was in the window, but now he leaves pit road.
Talking about the contact that was made of the pit lane. Eric McClure is in the 56 car.
Jason Leffler is leaving his pit, and there wasn't enough room. And you see the slight contact there on the right front fender of Jason Leffler, which, you know, It's probably a really good thing they came in to check that, because if he went down into turn 1 under the green, you would see a lot of smoke, probably.
We check the Aaron's pit summary after the stops, and Martin Truex, who came in first, is now third. You talked about Casey Mears losing spots, BP.
Now all the way back to 11th spot, and Biffle backed up 3 spots to 6th.
Now, some of the reason that Biffle and Truex backed up a couple of positions was because of strategy. A couple of cars taking fuel only. Mark Martin and Casey Kane. Kane now leading, Martin second. Fuel only on their pit stop. Then Truex comes off third. Also, Kenny Wallace with right side tires only on his pit stop. He is up to 5th place. Checking to see where Jason Leffler ended up after making that extra pit stop. He's back to 32nd from 5th before the stop. Ouch.
Truex is coming. Good run off of turn 2 that lap.
Meanwhile, Mark Martin is trying to take a look on the inside of Casey Kane for the lead.
And here comes Kyle Busch around Truex, looking for a spot on Martin. Man, 4th to 2nd and looking for the lead.
Man, now that was a good run.
That was impressive.
But that low line's going to be tough.
What about the 20 lap difference in tires here?
Well, you'd think that Kyle Busch would have a huge advantage with the fresh tires, but, you know, Casey Kane, the 38, keeping him on the bottom of the racetrack, is going to ruin the benefit of those new tires in just a few laps. But Kyle Busch does go to the front.
So, new leader, and evening up the bonus points where his fight for the championship with Martin Truex is concerned. New to NASCAR, driver gets 5 points for leading a lap during the race. Not every time he leads, but if you lead a lap, you collect 5 bonus points. And with Busch in the 5 and Truex in the 8, now both having led, that number is even on the day. Did not take Kyle Busch long to go from 4th to 1st after that pit stop. Marty?
Yeah, and I think you're seeing the benefit of the new tires for Kyle Busch. He told me right before he got in the race car, we're not very good in the short run, but better on the long run. So I'm kind of surprised they're able to run this well. But Kyle said, we'll be better in the longer run. Some guys will pass us. We'll lose some time. We'll lose some ground, but we'll get them back.
That's exactly what happened on the start of the race, Marty. And you're right. As the race wore on, Kyle Busch was getting faster and faster.
Now Truex, the 8 car, trying to get by Casey Kane, and he just about has him. Well, not quite.
Martin Truex Jr. coming into today's race with 4 wins. He's the championship leader, 15 top 10 finishes in 22 races, led 13. And his last couple of weeks have both been top 5 results. Trying to get that spot away for 2nd place, Matt.
Still working the bottom, trying to take over that 2nd spot with a 38 looking out the window on the high side. Now they made that track bar and air pressure adjustment. They are telling Martin, your car is a rocket off the corner. That's where you are really making a lot of headway. We told you before that stop he was extremely free. That's why he had to pick and choose where he could get that car so he would not have major issues, but it is good now.
Farther back in that picture, you're going to see the 1 car coming around the outside. Casey Mears trying to make up some of that lost ground.
That's Robbie Gordon directly in front of the 1 car. 1 is Casey Mears. And right behind Casey Mears, Kevin Harvey. And Bobby Hamilton Jr. is now back up in the middle of things.
Casey Mears running up as high as 2nd earlier, falling back to 11th on the pit stop.
Hey, he's going to try to pass him on the inside like Kenny Wallace.
Remember, Kenny just got right side tires on his pit stop. So, wow, who was that?
Who was that in front of there? Robbie Gordon. Real loose.
Dave, got something on Kenny for us?
Yeah, he made a 2-tire change, Alan. Made an air and track bar adjustment because he was loose into the corner, tied off the corner, and they're still very, very tight. That's how Casey Mears was able to get around the yellow 23 of Kenny Wallace.
Kenny Wallace, well, it's a group that just needs a good finish. They just have had a season that hasn't lived up to their expectations, and they're working on it. Kyle Busch out in front of Martin Truex by nearly 2 seconds now, as those guys got racing side by side for second behind him. He left him. Now, how about Rusty Wallace? Following Mark Martin's progress, and to a smaller extent Bobby Hamilton Jr.'s from the back of the pack. Rusty started back there with Mark in 42nd. He's up to 17th. That's a lap car he's passing, the 74. Not come through the traffic as well as Martin has, Matt.
He sure has, and he's mired back in 17th. He's just battling a loose condition. It's going to be a work in progress today for Rusty in that 66 car, tightening it up.
I talked to Barry Dodson and Blake Bainbridge this morning, the car chief, crew chief on the 66. They tested here and felt like they were going to be in really good shape because they had a day of testing where some of the other guys only had 10 or 15 laps, but hasn't worked out so far. Maybe they'll get it before the day is over.
Last time Rusty Wallace ran a double-dip weekend was back in 1989. He ran a Busch Series race in 1997. That was a solo race. Remember, Roger Penske, that owned his team at that time, owned the California Speedway. It was new. They had a Busch Series standalone weekend in October of that year. Rusty went out and ran it. The last time he ran both Saturday and Sunday was October 7th and 8th, 1989 at Charlotte. It's been a while.
He may like it. He may do more of it.
Yeah, that's right. He may like it. Right now, he's behind the middle Wallace boy, Mike Wallace, in the 4.
Coming up to pass younger brother. 14 guys in today's race running both races. We talked about this earlier, just touched on it a little bit. The fairness of running both ways. I hear more and more and more Cup drivers talking about wanting to find some sponsors and race on Saturday as well as Sunday.
And there's been that long time discussion, should the Nextel drivers be allowed to come over in the NASCAR Busch Series? And my belief is that yes, some, but there needs to be a limit to it. Today we have, what, 14 Nextel Cup drivers in this race? I think that's too many.
I don't know. I think they should. I don't think there should be any cap. I think a lot of the big reason why all these fans are here today, people are watching this race today, to watch the Cup drivers in the Busch Series. So, and also for these Busch guys, they got to measure themselves up against the best. And
that's why I said they should have Cup drivers in there to measure themselves up, to learn how to be better race car drivers. But you can't have 20 Nextel Cup drivers in the race, I don't think. Again, that's just my opinion. And I tell you what, Hamilton Jr. right now is really fast. He goes by Casey Mears, who looked to be the fastest car prior to that caution flag.
Casey had the hand out the window saying, go ahead on the inside. Bobby Hamilton Jr. on yet another engine.
These guys have had a lot of engine problems this year.
I went by the race car this morning about 10 a.m., 3 hours before race time. There was nothing under the hood. No engine, no transmission. Just the lines and wires hanging there. And Harold Holley, the crew chief, standing there. I mean, his face was so red, I thought if I cracked an egg over his head, I could have fried it on there.
What happened to Jamie McMurray, Matt?
Ray Hall, crew member on the 41 team, looked at me and with his hands gave me the signal for it broke. The motor is done on the 41. They're packing things up here in the 41 pit.
So another one of the double-duty guys whose Saturday will be shorter than expected. Jamie McMurray out, joining Matt Kenseth in the garage area. Martin Truex with the long view ahead to try and find leader Kyle Busch. NASCAR on TNT back at the Michigan International Speedway, where today's NASCAR Busch Series event is 80 miles complete of 250 scheduled. There's your leader, Kyle Busch. Took the lead at lap 27. We're now at lap 40, and he's out in front of second place by some 2.5 seconds. Through the field, let's let you know how everybody's running in the top 20 at this point. Kyle Busch, the race leader, is where we lead off, and that would be Marty Snyder.
Around about 10 o'clock last night, Lance McGrew called Kyle Busch on his cell phone, said, what do you want to do to the car? You want to change anything? Kyle said, don't touch it. It's perfect. Good call, because they are very good right now. Car just a little bit loose. They made an air pressure and track bar adjustment last stop. So far, so good. Dave?
Marty, speaking of not changing things, that's actually what Greg Biffle did at the last second on his pit stop. They had asked for a whole host of changes at first, and Greg said right before he stopped, you know what? The car's really coming around to me. Well, let's not change anything except the 4 tires. Matt?
On the restart, Martin Truex had a rocket ship, but the car, like in the previous run, slowly started migrating to the loose side. Now he's just way too loose on entry into turn 3. Meanwhile, the 87 just passed.
Stacy Compton in 59, Tracy Hines in the 6.
Tell you what,
Tracy Hines is going to be dizzy.
Tell you what, it's very seldom you can spin like that and not hit anything. Well, he has made contact, looks like, with the outside retaining wall, Stacy Compton, but I don't know that Tracy Hines hit anything.
Caution number 3.
Let's see. A lot of damage to that car.
Let me get to the barbecue a little bit early this afternoon.
Yeah, let's see if we can see what happened with this deal. Hopefully we have something. Hey, here we go.
6 car just looks like he got. Well, at first it looks like he got loose getting in, but
there you go.
Definitely got loose there.
Got loose in the middle, and we had to correct the car and go up the hill. The 59 car was right beside of him.
And got the worst of it.
Usually happens that way. Car on the outside.
Tracy Hines, the Newcastle, Indiana driver. USAC open wheeler, also running the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
And they announced yesterday that Ray Evernham has taken over ownership of this 6 car, and he will campaign the car in the NASCAR Busch Series next year. They have not announced who is going to drive for him. Someone will drive the car about 25 times, and the other 9 or so races, they'll try to find some more of the Hungry Drivers program like they had this year. Some rookies. Watch this car get loose. Watch it go. Oh, gosh.
See that left front tire, how he had the wheels turned to the right when he got under Stacy there.
They were running pretty good.
Yeah, he had moved up very smartly.
Yeah.
BP Hines had from 41st like up to about 20th.
Yeah,
he got loose way back there. He got loose getting into the corner.
Okay. Yep. So here comes the field to the opening of pit road. Who stops here? They were all in at lap 22 under the competition yellow. This is lap 43.
I bet Mark comes in.
I bet he does too. Looks like all of them are going to come in because they can go from here the rest of the way. Dave, coming to you.
Greg Biffle will take the changes they're talking about this time. They will go down on the track bar. His car is slightly loose. He also has a front shock issue that they didn't think they can fix during the race today, and he's just going to live with it. Marty?
Kyle Busch, our leader, Dave, comes to pit road. They said we can only go about 25 more laps on fuel. Can't chance it. Got to pit now under caution rather than under green later on. It'll be 4 tires, no chassis changes to the 5 car. Matty?
Going to top off the 87 with fuel. He's already down and away. Meanwhile, a significant chassis adjustment on the 8 of Martin Truex. A great break for this team. He felt like he had a right rear tire going flat as Haskell Lavalette is inside the wheel well of the 8, hits the lugs. He's down and away. Speculation they put a spring rubber in.
And they did something that cost him a lot of time on pit road.
Sure did.
Truex going to lose an awful lot of spots, and we'll get the running order when we come back. Caution is out here at the Michigan International Speedway on TNT. Motorhomes as far as you can see around the Michigan International Speedway, and thousands of fans on hand watching the NASCAR Busch Series today in the Cabela's 250. Caution wrapping up, and while the field gets their final pace lap before the restart, let's check our Stacker 2 NASCAR Busch Series track fact. Winters take a toll on pavement, and because the winters can be somewhat harsh in this climate, this racetrack gets a fresh coat of pavement more than maybe some others do.
Looks like it's about due then.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Every 9 years, well, guess what? Should be repaved. Boy, they'll be fast if they repave this thing, won't they?
Well, 1995, they put down this special polymer that's supposed to be more winter resistant, and most of the drivers and teams tell you that the track surface has held up here very well since they've done that.
It is. It's in good shape.
Well, good. Maybe they won't have to pave it every 9 years now. They can go 11, 12 or something.
Boy, that's expensive to pave a place like this. Half a lap away from the restart, Joe Nemechek is the new leader. Mike Wallace is second, Johnny Sauter third, Kyle Busch fourth, Greg Biffle fifth, and Mike Bliss sixth. Bobby Hamilton Jr. seventh, Robbie Gordon eighth, Casey Kane ninth, and Ashton Lewis is up to the number 10 spot. Don't forget that tomorrow, the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series from here in Michigan on TNT. Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon share the front row. Field lined up according to championship standings. And we start with Discover Card Countdown to Green at 1:30 Eastern Time.
All those guys that are trying to get in the top 10 for NASCAR Nextel Cup points to qualify will be starting 6th through 15th, side by side. So all you got to do is beat your competitor.
Pace cars off. And Nemechek will lead him up to speed.
Green flag, green flag.
Busch, he gets just tremendous restarts in that 5 car. Just tremendous restarts.
All right, let's check some of the strategy that has shuffled up that lead order from the last set of pit stops. Dave, Mike Wallace. Well, wait a minute here. 3 wide.
Biffle's 60 car stuck his nose in there between the 27 and the 74.
Hamilton has got a run coming off that corner. Couldn't go anywhere, but boy, he sure got a run off of turn 4.
And for the lead.
Well, it doesn't take Busch long to get that 5 car back in front. Wow.
There's a difference between their cars. Tires. Joe Nemechek, no tires on that last pit stop. Fuel only. That's what got him the lead. Another one that got fuel only, Mike Bliss being overtaken in this group. Johnny Sauter in the 27 being overtaken.
Here goes Biffle by the, I guess that's the 32 of Strimmy. Wow, there's a wad back there, isn't it?
And I guess what they're thinking about not taking tires, Benny, is they get a yellow, another yellow, they can get the set of tires where these other guys can't.
As Alan told you, they're only allowed to change the tires 3 times on the caution flag.
And they've used 2 sets of those 3 already in the race today.
Some of the cars have, that's correct.
All right, we were talking strategy. Another guy with a little trick on pit road to get some track position. Dave?
That was Mike Wallace, and what they did is crew chief Tony Lambert told me they watched the 9 car of Mark Martin. They saw that the last time he did not make a tire change, and he didn't lose that much. At the outset he did, which Mike expects to do, but then he kind of leveled up. That's what they went with. That's what they hope happens for the 4 car.
So Mike Wallace hanging in there now in 8th place. Getting shuffled just a little bit on the older tires. Is the term you used there, a wad of cars?
Yeah. Gaggle. Ever see Mark Martin as he tries to work his way back to the front? Now I'm assuming he changed tires on this stop.
Yes, he did.
So he ought to be good to go for a while now.
They came in with 80 laps to go. So everybody has to make one more pit stop for fuel. And that last set of tires. The timing of that last pit stop, and if there's another caution after that, that's where the guys with the extra set of tires could get an advantage.
Right.
But it's a gamble.
It's a big gamble.
If you don't get that late caution, and how many cars are on the lead lap, and how much track position do you give up, and can you make up by taking the extra pit stop?
And I tell you what, the crew chiefs in the NASCAR Busch Series, they really, their job to me seems to be a little bit tougher than the crew chiefs in the NASCAR Nextel Cup because of the fact they got to figure out how to use their tires under the caution flag. Nextel Cup, the caution flag comes out, they just automatically put on 4 tires.
So Mark Martin by Johnny Sauter in the 27, Mark in the 9, so that gives Mark 7th place. Casey Mears by Sauter to 8th. And who's that losing a couple of spots? So is that David Green down on the bottom, 37?
Yes, it is.
Looks like he lost momentum on the bottom now. He said, okay, I got to get back to the top, get my momentum going again. Rusty Wallace being overtaken by the Truex car, number 8.
Now there's the guy that led in the early going, and he lost a bunch of ground on that last pit stop, all the way back to 18th place. And that's actually 5 spots farther back than he restarted. He took the restart in 13th.
Looks like he's passing some cars now, though.
Rusty Wallace, Kenny Wallace. 74 car Tony Raines in that group is not on the lead lap. He's in 34th place, 1 lap down.
Got to get all 3 of those Wallace brothers together, running together, so we can point that out to you. Kenny in the 23, Rusty 66, and Mike in 4. Okay, there's 4.
And you see Jason Leffler in the 00 trying to make his way back toward the front. Remember, he had the extra pit stop to repair the fender damage.
Something happened to Nemechek. He came off turn 4 and just dove to the bottom of the racetrack, and now we see the smoke.
I would say blew up.
That's what it sure looks like. Engine problem for the 87.
Turning these engines, a lot of RPMs here at Michigan.
Are more.
That wasn't good. It broke up pretty big.
Matt.
Well, you heard him say on the radio that he broke something really big inside that engine. It's not been a good day, even though he's running up front. He could not hear the team. He was told to stay out under that last caution. He pitted anyway, so that's why they just topped him off. But bad luck this year for Joe Nemechek. Still does not have a top 5 finish.
Caution flag is out to check for debris and oil from the 87 car. And the yellow flag waving for the 4th time in this race.
I'd like to have the in-car audio of this one.
He comes off the corner and Biffle pulls up behind him and
almost got run over.
Yeah. So you're thinking the in-car audio, we'd hear a lot of clunking and banging and thunking?
It'd be ugly.
Yeah, it would be ugly.
Caution flag out here at the Michigan International Speedway for Joe Nemechek's problem. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. NASCAR racing for Michigan International Speedway on TNT is brought to you by Miller High Life. To live simply, proudly, boldly, manly, this is the High Life. By Aaron's, let Aaron's drive your dreams home today. By Harley-Davidson, it's time to ride. And by KFC, next time you're in Chicken Capital USA, grab a Twister. It's the taste of KFC, wrapped to go. Little track inspection going on, checking for oil and debris from Joe Nemechek's car that had an engine failure while running in 2nd spot, and it's going to be a couple more minutes of cleanup, so let's take advantage of the downtime to squeeze in another break. Back for the restart in a minute. Back at the Michigan International Speedway with the NASCAR Busch Series on TNT, a lap away from the restart. Kyle Busch, the leader, over Greg Biffle, Bobby Hamilton Jr., Casey Kane, and Mark Martin. And let's check some stories on pit road while we have a semi-quiet moment. Marty.
Yeah, Kyle's been able to kind of take off from the rest of the field. Alan, Lance McGrew, he's really good in that short run. I thought you guys were not good on the short run yesterday.
Yeah, well, I mean, we just did some 10-lap runs yesterday. Maybe that's what's good, what makes the car so good today, but hopefully you hold on. The car's been running really good. The Lowe's Chevrolet, the whole team's been doing a great job all weekend. I'm hoping our fuel mileage holds out and we can make this deal.
He's got it up front, hoping to keep it up front. Dave?
Brad Parrott is the crew chief for Greg Biffle. Now, pretty good car, but can you catch the 5?
Well, there's a long way to go, Dave. Greg's doing an awesome job in this Charter Flash Fastest Man Alive Justice League Heroes Ford Taurus.
I think you got it all.
I got it all. But the pit crew did a good job there, and we missed a little bit on the front shocks, but that's Greg Biffle in that 60, and y'all know what he can do when he gets out front.
We'll watch him, Matt.
Bono, a lot of adjustments last 2 stops. Are you making headway?
I hope so, Matt. You know, we started out pretty good, just a little free, and we just keep getting freer and freer and freer. So we're gonna one more stop. We're gonna make some major adjustments and see what we can do there.
You'll restart from the 14th position.
Oh, that's unusual because usually it goes the other way in this place.
Back up to speed, a quick challenge for a spot.
Mark Martin about to be challenged by Kevin Harvick. He is challenged, as a matter of fact, about to lose a spot, but he's coming back on the outside.
That's one of those not so fast.
Not so fast, BP.
Harvick was saying, darn, I had him pass there one time.
And he wasn't as fast as he needed to be.
No.
Casey Mears in the 1. Got a report just a second ago that he's down to just 3rd and 4th gears in his transmission.
He got a good restart.
Yeah, he did.
2 gears.
Not to have seconds.
It's going to hurt him if he has to pit under the green, though. That's for sure.
Harvick about to lose another spot to Robbie Gordon. And
Bobby started way back in 23rd spot, BP. And for third place, Casey Kane, 38, trying to take it away from Hamilton Jr. in 25.
That's impressive. Marty, about the 25 car? What's Hamilton Jr. saying to the crew chief?
Just an outstanding job for these guys today.
And trouble in turn one, Marty. Tony Raines had just gotten back on the lead lap at the last caution via the old lucky dog pass, and now his luck has apparently run out.
He's on right here if you can.
Oh, he can, but you're not going to like it when he gets there.
Yeah. That's too bad. So Tony Raines.
What was that, Raines?
Asking about somebody.
Yeah. Tony started 29th place, and as I mentioned, had just got back on the lead lap at the last yellow. Let's play detective.
There was nobody. I think he lost the left rear tire possibly.
The left rear tire was flat as he was coming back around, so I don't know if he did that when he was spinning, but as he was driving the car back around, it was indeed flat. There you see it.
So the caution is out once more. I mentioned we only averaged about 2.5 cautions per race in the first 12 NASCAR Busch Series races here at Michigan. This is already yellow number 5 in this one. Holding some 136,000 fans, all sold out for tomorrow's race, and a good number on hand for today's NASCAR Busch Series action that's under caution once again when Tony Raines had a crash down in turn 1. BP, she's back.
Oh, and lady, look out. You look out, lady.
Oh. September 11th, college football on TBS. The Houston Cougars take on the number 2 ranked Oklahoma Sooners. Big 12 and Pac-10 college football this fall on TBS.
Okay, lady, I don't know how you didn't get run over, but okay.
She said, yay, Wally. Had a lot of caution flags in this race. Let's show you what has gotten us to this point as we reach halfway in today's 250-miler. The usual pre-race pageantry. And the big names at the back, Mark Martin and Rusty Wallace back in the field. Field lined up according to championship standings because of a rain out of qualifying on yesterday. And it didn't take long for the trouble to break out.
Go ahead, BP.
In stereo.
Yeah. And Matt Kenseth comes along with no place to go and messes up the front end of the 17 car. He would later park it because of the damage.
That was caution 1. Then a competition yellow because the teams didn't get much race practice on Friday. Allowed them to check the tires. Somebody ran into trouble on pit road.
Crowded down there.
Jason Leffler wrinkling up his right front fender. Repairs since May. A little bit of mechanical attrition today.
Jimmy McMurray at 41. Engine problem, goes to the garage area.
And then this is Tracy Hines in the 6 and Stacy Compton in the 59.
Tracy got loose getting into turn 3 there and went to save the car. Unfortunately, Mr. Compton was there.
He was already in that spot.
8 tires better than 4. Joe Nemechek, another of the mechanical failures. He was running second when he had his problem. And then at lap 62, the caution that has brought us out now. Upon further review.
Yep, you could see the tire or
the left rear tire come off.
Yep, behind him. So he lost the left rear.
And Tony Raines involved in the crash. So that's how we've gotten here to this point. We have had 5 different leaders, 5 lead changes, and they're still cleaning up. So we'll take a break. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. Race car heads for pit road, and the field of the NASCAR Busch Series gets set to get back up to speed. Kyle Busch, the race leader. Greg Biffle second. Bobby Hamilton Jr. third. Casey Kane fourth. Mark Martin fifth. 60 laps to go.
Casey Kane takes a look underneath Bobby Hamilton.
He was trying to pass him just before the caution flag came out, and going down in turn 1, it looks like that they've got him cleared, but look what a run Hamilton in that 25 gets on the top, and Mark now trying to get by Casey Kane on the bottom.
Going to be for 4th place. Not quite.
Man, that outside is...
It's definitely better on the outside on the restarts.
And here comes Casey Mears behind him. Wide. Mears trying to get around Robbie Gordon. And who's that? Johnny Sauter down the bottom. 27 car. Tell you what, that 00 Jason Leffler we saw in the race recap a minute ago, and he wrinkled up that fender on the pit lane. They came back in, made repairs. He fell all the way back to 32nd. Nice recovery by him. He's back up to 9th.
He's had the 00 off Leffler has had a very good race car. The last, all the Busch races that we've done since we started on TNT.
Oh, Ashton Lewis.
Is the Leffler tire flat?
Yeah, it looks like he's having a hard time hanging on to it, but boy, yeah, he's got some kind of trouble.
Stay there. After the 6th car, red, yellow 6, down to the bottom right now.
Right rear flat, maybe?
Flat right rear.
Yeah. Yep.
I think so. It's either right front or right rear. Flat right rear.
Nice job to hang on
Yeah,
to
I
it.
was going to say it was a good save.
And nice job by the spotter to find him a space through traffic to get down to the inside.
Now, hopefully that tire won't fly apart like it just did there and start tearing up the race car.
Wow. Inside of the car with all the tire debris coming apart.
Almost looked like a down pillow had come apart inside that race car with all that stuff flying. Look at that.
That's the problem when you try to hurry back with the flat tire. When they come apart, they devastate. And there's probably some rubber laying out there right now.
Rubber, bits, pieces of metal, various
you
things.
name it. Ooh, it's getting uglier.
Boy, it's getting real ugly. Man.
Oh, he even moved his hand away on that one.
What is that?
Look at that.
Is that just all the fabric casing of the carcass of the tire?
Yeah.
Wow.
Coming inside the car.
Well, we talked about a nice save.
All right, he goes down to turn 3, and he passed a couple of these cars. So all of a sudden, the tire goes down. He slides up the racetrack, makes a really nice save.
Does a terrific job.
Fortunately, he couldn't get to pit. If he could get to the pits right now, he would have saved all that damage, but they always go out in the worst spot. So he has to come all the way back around the racetrack, but in the meantime, trying to get there, the right rear tire comes apart.
Or you hear the tire going, you actually hear the tire, the air leaving the tire as he enters turn 3.
See, he could not get to pit lane, so he's got to go all the way around. Now he ducks down. Now listen.
Oh, we see the 47 car.
Robert Presley.
Huh. Oh, great job. He just spins around and goes for a ride down the grass, puts it in gear, and drives away. No contact.
What was that?
That was kind of strange.
Under the caution flag.
What was that? That was
Hornaday.
Yeah, he and Hornaday.
Okay. There's always a story behind those things, usually.
You mean we have to back up a few laps, maybe?
You never know.
All right, who's going to pit? Okay, David Green, first taker.
56 to go. And Martin Truex in, and Kenny Wallace and Johnny Sauter. Probably seeing the last pit stops of the day for these guys.
Well, they're going to try to make it.
Looks like 11th place on back would be the first ones to come in. Okay, Matt.
And the Chance 2 team waiting for Martin to make his way to his pit stall comes to a stop. He is bad loose. They're going to make a huge air pressure adjustment, a wedge and track bar adjustment. Also maybe might bump up the rear spoiler as well, as they're going to go for 4 sticker tires. He said if you're going to make some adjustments, make some big ones. As you can see, Will, the engine tuner bump up that rear spoiler. He needed some big time adjustments, guys.
Yeah, whenever you go to the spoiler, you're pretty loose.
So they got 55 laps, right? Some of these... Marty, why did the 37 stay so long in his pits? Is he crammed it full of gas?
Well, I think they did that, BP, but also the temperature, water temperature is way up now to 250 for David Green. It's been 230 for the better part of that run that we just had. So a lot of hot water. They tried to put some cold water into the 37 car.
Did they pull any tape off, Marty?
They did do that too, Wally.
So David Green leaving and rejoining the race, 5th place driver in the NASCAR Busch Series Championship. Might we see an economy run from here to the finish? Could be setting up for that. Back in Michigan International Speedway, NASCAR on TNT with the NASCAR Busch Series in the Cabela's 250. Caution flag out for the 6th time in this race after Ashton Lewis shredded and shed a tire and bits and pieces of debris all the way around the racetrack. Check your mailbox for the Valpak Blue Envelope, and you could win a trip to experience NASCAR VIP style or other great prizes. TNT.TV is the website where you can find more details.
And you heard the jet dryer go by, and that's the reason that NASCAR on these caution flags have started to send the blowers out and to blow off the racetrack. Try to get the debris off there so these guys will not have as many flat tires.
Tell you what, this caution flag and the extended caution flag laps really setting up an interesting situation for the finish if we don't see a caution from here to the end. Let's talk some strategy, Matt.
We'll catch up with Paul Andrews. You pin it back on lap 43. The car looks good, but how do you stand on fuel mileage?
We're not ready to go to the end of the race with, if we come in here. We're about still like 7 or 8 laps short. It's not worth the gamble. We've got a couple of sets of tires left, so if we can get to run some green laps, it'd be really good. It'd really play into our hand since we've got a couple of sets of tires, but we just want to go green. It's a shame we got all these cautions and debris and stuff like that. And I know the guys have lost motors, but our car's pretty good. We're pretty happy with it right now. If we can just get a little bit better, we'll be that much better off.
Casey's last 2 NASCAR starts here at Michigan, a second 1 year ago in this race, and a second in his Nextel Cup car here in June. Marty?
Matt, an impressive run for Bobby Hamilton Jr. in 3rd. First of all, right before that caution came out, something hit him in the windshield. How bad's that damage?
Well, fortunately, Russo's tear-off saved us. A piece of lead hit it, I think. It's about a 5-inch spot. It almost came all the way through, so that was real close to being disastrous there, but it's not all the way through and everything's good. But Bob Jr.'s doing an awesome job in the Marines Ford Taurus. These Marines out here on pit road today are really getting after it. Pretty excited for the end. And I'd like to thank Jack Rouse for helping us out and coordinating with Robert Gates and everybody to get us to where we are today. But, the day's been good so far, so we had to see what happens.
With a Roush engine under the hood, Bobby Hamilton Jr. currently 3rd. Dave?
Marty, I went down and checked in the 47 pit to find out about that spin, and apparently after talking with them, they got together with the 2-car of Ron Hornaday under caution while Ron was cleaning his tires. The 2 pit confirms that. Everyone's apologized to everyone else. The downside for the 47 is they came in to change 4 tires because they had a cut in the sidewall of the right front. They didn't want to change them this early. They wanted to wait a bit longer before they did that. But other than that, Presley's okay. He topped off on fuel just now, and he's back on the track.
Well, guys, we had some cars make pit stops while you were talking to those crew chiefs that I think are going to try to make it the rest of the way on fuel. Casey Mears might have been the fastest one of the bunch.
Yeah, making pit stops, Casey Mears, Michael Waltrip, Justin Labonte, Hermie Sadler, Travis Geisler, Eric McClure, Kenny Wallace, Casey Atwood, and Robert Presley, David Green.
Flag, green flag.
Now, of the guys who stopped initially under the yellow, Martin Truex Jr., the highest contending car, and he is in 15th place on this restart. I think it's going to get interesting.
So do I. See Mark Martin, he's back in the 5th position as he tries to chase down the Casey Kane Dodge, 38 Dodge.
Casey Mears up there pretty high, working a real high groove.
So the leader is Kyle Busch. 2nd is Greg Biffle. Bobby Hamilton Jr. is 3rd. Casey Kane is 4th, and Mark Martin is 5th. And Wally, we were looking at the 25 car of Hamilton Jr. when he came by, and boy, that hole in that windshield is, I mean, it's big. Look at that thing. Yeah, I mean, it's not a hole in the windshield, but the indentation where the piece of debris hit.
Yeah, it's a big mark. Boy, if that was a piece of lead, that would have been pretty scary.
Yeah, disaster. That's the word Harold Holly used, and I'll agree with that word. Marty?
Well, the engine VP for these guys has been excellent today, and that's a big relief to Harold Holly. As we talked about, this is the third engine for Bobby Hamilton Jr. this weekend. They had Jason Keller's backup engine, which was a Yates engine in the car this morning. They took it out at 9:30. They got an engine from Matt Kenseth. That was his backup engine. Put it in. They were the last car through tech. They got out to the line 15 minutes before the race started. A big relief as you see him working that bottom line that this engine has even lived through the day, much less has been so good and so powerful.
Changing an engine, even though it's a Ford to a Ford, from one builder to another is not as simple as it sounds.
Yeah, there are different hookups and lengths of, you got hoses to match, and it isn't something you just plug in.
No, it really isn't. Some of them mount the engine on the side of the block. Some have front mounts.
Replumbing everything.
And Kyle Busch is just saying, see you to these guys. Pretty good battle for second, third, fourth, fifth, but the leader, Kyle Busch, is already a second and a half in front of Biffle.
I'm not counting out this 9 car yet. Mark Martin, if you weren't with us earlier, started at the back of the field in 43rd place. He blasted through to 15th by lap 20. Fell back. Sorry, while I hesitated just to check my notes for a second. Fell back by not taking tires on that competition yellow at lap 22, which cost him some track position. Now he's trying to make it back to the front again.
Doing a pretty good job as he tries to get by Casey Kane for the 4th position. That's Mark in the number 9, the Pennzoil car.
Mark Martin, the all-time leading winner in NASCAR Busch Series. 23% career winning average in this series. 45 wins in 200 starts.
Man, Hamilton Jr., once they run a few laps, he goes to the center of the corner so fast, it's unbelievable. Right on the bottom of the racetrack. And Greg Biffle was saying, why did they give him that engine, one of my engines?
Wow.
For second place.
Right there, made the pass, BP, right where you're talking about, right through the center.
So Biffle shuffled back to 3rd. Casey Kane and Mark Martin following him there. And all that racing for second position has allowed Kyle Busch to get into another area code.
Watch the 25 just drive through the center of the corner so fast. He might be able to do something with Kyle Busch. I'm not sure any of these other cars can.
People better be careful not to leave that high line open there.
Oh, how about a run for second?
Oh, come on, what happened here?
That was pretty strong.
Hamilton Jr. up high in the 25, trying to fend off Greg Biffle. And now Mark Martin trying to shuffle Casey Kane out of line. That'd be 3 Fords in that outside line, and the lone Dodge, Casey Kane.
I think Mark will get the spot here because, wow. He didn't give him much room. He came right down on Casey, but Casey Kane looks like he needs that high groove, and Mark got up on the high side. Passed him pretty easy.
Tell you what, I'm pretty impressed with Robbie Gordon as he comes up and tries to get by Casey Kane.
55 car. Started back in 23rd place. Robbie Gordon, of course, this is his own race team that he operates. Kind of, they start off the year pretty solidly, and then they hit a struggle in mid-season. They've been out of the top 10 in 6 of the last 7 races that they've run.
Wow, that's cutting it close there, Robbie.
And Kevin Harvick joining the chase in the 21. Harvick, the defending champion of this race. Talking about Robbie Gordon. Marty, got some more on him for us?
Well, they just had a terrific run, as you mentioned. Started 23rd. They've made one adjustment to the car all day long. Robbie was a little tight. They took a ½ pound out of the right front, and that was it. This car has been awesome for Robbie today. Took him to a 5th place finish at Nashville. Looking for more today.
Oh, Casey Kane.
And Mark Martin is right on the back bumper of Bobby Hamilton Jr. in the 25. Looked like he tried to get alongside up in 3 and 4, but couldn't quite make it. Backed up. Of course, he just turned that car left.
Well, he sure can cut that car, Mark Martin. But when he gets down on the bottom, it's very difficult to pass a guy getting off the corner, being on the inside.
Both of these two racing for second, 4 6/10 seconds behind Kyle Busch.
Oh, Kyle is he just said, see you guys. It's unbelievable how fast he is.
Look at this. There's your leader.
Somewhere back there second.
Yeah. Back over about Ann Arbor way. 41 laps to go here at the Michigan International Speedway. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. Caution has just come out here at Michigan International Speedway again. Contact between cars, and this time it was Ron Hornaday that went for a spin.
With a little help, probably.
The left front tire is flat. All right, there we go. It's Justin Labonte in 44, and oh wow,
clunk, clunk,
a little bump, and
the first clunk you say, yeah, okay. The second clunk is gonna make you mad.
And he rode it for a while, but just couldn't save it.
Looked like Justin maybe got a little bit loose first, but still.
Ooh. Casey, when that Casey that just got through, was that Fedewa?
That's Fedewa.
Fedewa, yeah.
So Ron Hornaday, the 6th place driver in the NASCAR Busch Series Championship, limping back around, and now
we have a very interesting situation about to come up. All these lead lap cars can now make it the rest of the way on fuel. They go in, they'll get their tires, but those guys that stopped just a little bit ago, they'll probably stay out. So we've got fast cars. Kyle Busch will be behind cars after this is all over, I do believe. Let's see.
I think these tires, though, are going to be a payoff, BP.
Yep, Casey Mears, who topped off at the end of that last caution, stayed out.
Dave?
VP Greg Biffle wants 4 of those nice fresh tires. They will also make a track bar adjustment on the car, wrench going in the rear window. That's to help Greg. He's a little bit tight right now. They will do that and air pressure adjustments as well all around. Marty?
Harold Holly to his pit crew. Come on, boys. Let's give him a shot at winning this thing. Bobby Hamilton Jr. said the car is pretty awesome. 4 tires and no changes for the 25 car in the middle of your screen. Top of your screen, the 5 car of Kyle Busch. Little loose center. He said, don't touch a thing. Matt?
No chassis adjustments for Mark Martin, trying to win his 46th career race. It's going to be a big race off. He's not going to get the 5.
Robbie Gordon's guys gave a good pit stop.
Boy, all year long, those 55 guys have been terrific in the NASCAR Busch Series. Dave.
Guys, keep your eye on the 60 car. I believe he may have been penalized for a tire going back across pit road that was their own. May have to come back in to pit lane and serve that penalty.
Ouch. That's going to hurt. Casey Mears did not pit. He's out in front. We'll reset the strategy and set up for the sprint to the finish when we come back to the Michigan International Speedway. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. Back at the Michigan International Speedway, under caution once again today for the 7th time. And a little bit of strategy being played out here that has shuffled up the running order. Got 6 drivers who did not pit under this caution. Casey Mears, the new leader, did not stop. Kenny Wallace, Michael Waltrip, Justin Labonte, Robert Presley, Jimmy Kitchens.
Okay.
I want to add Martin Truex to that list.
But I think they're going to feel...
Well, let me rescind that. The 8 did come down pit road. Well, let's get a report from the 8's pit and find out exactly what they did to get him up there, because I didn't notice whether he just took fuel only or not. We want to find out for sure. So anyway, the first one of the guys that got 4 tires looked to me to be Robbie Gordon. Yeah. Who squeezed out ahead of Kyle Busch and Mark Martin and Bobby Hamilton Jr.
So that would be Matt that would tell us what happened to the 8 car.
Which he will. He's
probably working.
He's scampering and running as we speak. So they're cleaning up the track. You saw the jet blowers out on the speedway while Matt checks with the 8 team, and they clean up the track. We'll get our last break in during action. From Michigan, you're watching NASCAR on TNT. NASCAR Busch Series Racing from Michigan International Speedway on TNT is brought to you by YJ Stinger, the extreme energy drink. Catch the buzz, feel the sting. By the U.S. Department of Transportation. You drink and drive, you lose. By Sears. Work your denim, style it your way. Sears, good life, great price. And by Wendy's Kids Meals, now with delicious new choices. One to go is the signal from the starter stand. The restart coming next lap by. Let's get some reports from pit road, Matt.
Casey Mears, the leader, stayed out. John Wolf, are you good to go the distance on fuel?
Yeah, we're good to go. And this caution even helps us out if we go a green-white checker.
And the big issue, though, they have lost first and second gear.
23 car of Kenny Wallace, last pitted on lap 23. Chris Rice, how many of these guys, 73, sorry. How many of these guys can you hold off, and can you make it on fuel?
Well, you know, I think we can make it on fuel, but holding the guys off, I think we got a good top 10 car. You know, got a bunch of fast cars, that 5 car, but I think we can hold some of them off. I'd just like to say hey to Frank Starr, our parts guy. He had a bad automobile accident yesterday, and we wish him well.
Marty?
Well, Dave, early on, Michael Waltrip spun his race car, so Jerry Baxter, could it be the spin and win for the 99 bunch today?
We're hoping so. That 5 car is pretty stout, though. You know, we were kind of hoping that thing would stay green and the whole thing would play out because we were good to go to the end there, but that didn't work out. So we'll just that was our only shot at getting in the top of the top 5 or so. So we'll just see what the thing plays out as. And I just want to tell my wife Wendy happy birthday.
All right, very good. Happy birthday, Wendy. And no fuel concerns for the 99 bunch, Alan.
Okay, so here we go with the restart at 34 to go. Casey Mears leading, Kenny Wallace, Michael Waltrip, Justin Labonte, Robert Presley, Jimmy Kitchens. Those guys.
Casey Mears starts easing in this throttle and trying to come down to a very fast start and stay up so to keep out on the outside with no second gear.
Robbie
Blocking going on.
Block. Yeah, that's Robbie. He always does that.
Kyle Busch in the 5, races dominant car, looking to make it up through traffic. And for the lead, Kenny Wallace trying Casey Mears.
I just think that the tire situation is going to play in really in the last 10 or 15 laps to go. And these guys up front are going to be sitting ducks.
New leader, Kenny Wallace out in front.
I thought we could do it, boys. This is for y'all.
So Wallace leads, Mears second, Michael Waltrip third, but the man on the move, Robbie Gordon, and Kyle Busch.
And Kyle Busch in that 5 car, he is coming fast.
I thought he had Robbie Gordon passed down in 1 and 2, but it was not the case. Robbie Gordon's able to hold him off. Oh, there will be some pushing and shoving.
Justin Labonte trying Michael Waltrip for third.
Goes to the bottom, and it sticks. Wow, that was a nice pass.
That is a strong race car.
That is a nice pass.
Working on Justin Labonte. And that'll be for third spot. Marty?
Justin Labonte's trying the same strategy, Alan, that he used at Chicago. Bryant Frazier with a little poke from Dad Terry Labonte said, let's stay out for fuel mileage. They can make it all the way driving the same car. He won the race with that Chicago, that 44 bunch.
By the way, Martin Truex, Matt, did update us during the commercial, fuel only on the 8 car. He did stop under the caution, but just took fuel. There may be no stop in that 5 car today. Kyle Busch for second.
Fast.
He is wicked fast.
Working on Kenny Wallace for the race lead.
Enjoy the lead, Kenny, because it's about over.
Kyle Busch, when he goes by, will get on the radio and tell his guys, this is for you guys. Martin, this 5 car is unbelievably fast.
VP, I think the word is awesome. And Kyle told me before he got in the race car today, we have some unfinished business with this car. It's the one they took to Chicago, led a whole bunch of the race with, and then lost a cylinder late in the race. Still finished 12th in that race car. But Kyle said, this race car owes us one. I know it's good. I know it can make it to victory lane. And it looks pretty awesome right now, doesn't it?
It sure does.
Ninth to first, 4 laps.
That's a pretty good race car.
It's okay. If you're Kyle Busch.
Oh, that was close. Robbie Gordon.
Justin Labonte.
Yeah, they were leaning on each other there in turns 1 and 2.
They were doing their square dance. Here comes Mark Martin, Casey Kane, Martin Truex trying to drive on through. championship leader Truex trailing his rival for the title, Kyle Busch. The difference between them has grown and then shrunk again over the last month or so.
And look at that. Kyle Busch ran 180, and the next fastest time was under 178. Wow. Second spot.
Here's Mark Martin going to make it wide.
Wow.
And that's the newness of tires. Helps a lot.
So Mark in the 9 to 2nd, Casey Mears in the 1 to 3rd, Robbie Gordon 55 to 4th, and Kenny Wallace shuffled back to 5th in the 23. Your championship leader Truex. How about Kenny Wallace, Dave?
Well, even though he's getting shuffled back, this could very well be his best finish here at Michigan. In 7 starts, 18th has been the best he's done. So their call to stay out there at the end, a pretty good one for them. And really, they only thought they'd have to hold off the 5 car. But Wally, you said it, newness of tires and the guys coming through right now is what's getting Kenny.
Yeah, it's just a matter of time, and it's going to get worse for Kenny because as the longer he runs on these tires, like I said, the last 10 laps, there's going to be a big difference in lap times from the guys that got tires and the guys that did not.
So Kenny shuffled another spot as Truex goes by. Wallace back to 7th. Jason Leffler set to challenge him there. Rally of the day, I think, goes to that 00 car. No radio communication from driver to crew. Pit road incident earlier. Damaged the fender. Dropped him to 32nd. He's back into the top 10. Marty, quite a day.
It's been eventful, I'll say that, Alan. And Eddie DeHaan and Robert Booty Barker deserve a big pat on the back after this one. They have had to guess every time. And under caution, the fact that we've had so many caution laps has really helped these guys out because Jason will swerve the car when they guess right as to what's wrong with the car. That's really helped them out. The car's been loose for most of the day. In that earlier wreck, it's now towed out as well. Jason has done an outstanding job with a car that's not handling that great.
Imagine having hundreds of thousands of dollars invested in a race car and a race to come to the weekend, and you're playing a game of guess the handling characteristics. Hey, he swerved. We got it right. Jason Leffler, 3rd in the NASCAR Busch Series Championship standings, coming off 3 straight third-place finishes, but he's 374 points behind the top 2 with 12 races to go. What do you think, Jason? Can you get there?
We're not giving up. We're going to run every race like we have been, and then let's go win. And if we don't win, we finish in top 5. So hopefully we can do that today. I wish they were doing the chase for the cup like they're doing over there. It would make we would be more excited about that since we're so far behind in points in 3rd spot. But we're not out of it by no means.
And I tell you what, that's exactly what the Busch Series needs right now for that sidebar of a chase for the Busch Series to qualify the top 10 cars and then start over again.
I agree.
You see their 3rd spot with 383 points out of 1st.
And meantime, the lead would shrink at the conclusion of the day if Kyle Busch and Martin Truex Jr. finish where they are now. The lead coming into the race, 117 points. It was 142 starting a race in Indianapolis 2 weeks ago. Tighten up. Race 4 position, 55 and 8. Robbie Gordon, Martin Truex Jr. This is for 5th.
Martin Truex. Taking a look down at the bottom. Got some momentum, but this is where it runs out right about here.
And you can't move up the racetrack and use that entire speedway to accelerate off the corner. It's so difficult to make that pass.
Robbie Gordon's best ever finish in a NASCAR Busch Series race, a pair of 3rd place runs. Daytona back in February and at Texas Motor Speedway early in the spring. So Robbie in contention perhaps if he can move up a little bit in these last couple laps to equal that best ever run. Marty?
Yeah, he finished 6th here last August. Alan trying to do a little bit better than that, as you talked about on the last pit stop. Again, no changes for the 55 car. When he came off pit road, told the guys, thanks a lot. That's what I needed. He gave him a good stop, got him out there. Now the car's pretty fast. faster the longer the run goes. So that's the key for him, the long runs.
We haven't had very many of those yet today. Caution flags have kept the action short here today at Michigan in little 15 and 20 lap bursts of racing. Now we've got 22 laps to go. Everybody's got fuel to go to the finish, and we'll see how it shakes out. Kyle Busch in a class by himself, while his title rival Martin Truex continues trying to pick his way back up toward the front. Matt?
Truex pitted on that last caution. He was out of tires. They just made a chassis adjustment trying to tighten that race car, but it's been loose all day long. In fact, he says when the car should get tighter in traffic, it goes even more to the loose side. Now it's his big picture day. He knows Kyle Busch is winning this race at this point. He has to have a good run so he can try not to lose too many points today, thinking big picture Busch Series championship.
And he's just gotten 4th place away from Casey Kane. So a good championship day for both Kyle Busch and Martin Truex Jr. at this point. And the young guys are up to the task. Remember, we talked at the beginning of the broadcast, the experienced Cup guys starting at the back of the field, the younger Busch Series guys starting up front. Well, the Cup guys did get there, or at least Mark Martin did. The young guys, though, are hanging on, and matter of fact, one of them's out in front.
Pretty good battle there between the Wallace boys, Kenny in the 23, Mike in the 4, Strimy's in there in the 32, Bliss in the 20. Is that Biffle back there as well?
Yeah. Yeah, Biffle, and I think I neglected to mention this, and I apologize, but on his last pit stop, his crew had a tire get away. Dave, I think, alluded to it, but I don't know that I ever confirmed the penalty. Had a tire get away from them, Dave, and the penalty was a big one.
Alan, they went to the back of the longest line on that restart. That was their penalty. They didn't have to come and serve it on pit road, but that put them way back there. No track position, hard to fight through that, and Greg also radioed in that it feels a little flat now, so he's not getting help from that end either. Marty?
Dave, what a rally for David Stremme. At one point, he was 30th in this race. The car was extremely loose. They came to pit road, threw the hood up in the air, put a spring rubber in the right front spring that has tightened the car up, and it's come to life. You see him trying to get a position down there in 3 and 4, trying to work around Greg Biffle. The car, very good for Stremme. He was running in the top 10 before this last stop. They, too, like Robbie Gordon, need some green flag runs here to make up some ground.
David Stremme, the Rookie of the Year last year in the NASCAR Busch Series, but has had kind of a tough season this season. He did have a 2nd place run in Milwaukee, but he's only had 9 top 10s this entire season, and I think after the year they had a year ago, he and the team expected a little bit more.
I think they've had a lot of really good runs that came to an end this year
before their scheduled time.
Biffle finally gets by Kenny Wallace on the outside, and there again, it's a tire situation where these cars have much better tires on their car than Kenny Wallace does.
So we go back up to the race for 7th place. Robbie Gordon, Bobby Hamilton Jr. Hamilton Jr. had one of the top 3 cars or so in this race, I think it's fair to say. But the track position that they lost on pit road the last time when the other guys did not stop, they haven't been able to overcome despite having the fresher tires. Did Robbie just scrub the wall there?
Almost, but getting close. Hamilton takes the spot away from Robbie Gordon.
Rusty Wallace, we talked about him starting 42nd today. That's a battle for the what position? 10th?
9th
spot.
Yep.
Working on
Keller.
Yeah, got it. Haven't really talked about Jason Keller much today, have we either? He's in the top 10. What do you think, Dave?
And trying to hang on to that right now. They started out the day with the car not turning through the center at all with no rear grip, according to Jason. So they've worked on that all day. And basically all he's fighting now is a little bit tight through the center of the corner and obviously trying to stay in the top 10, not lose any more position.
Just trying to knock off good finishes for that 22 team after they've had more than their share of bad luck this season. Talked to Jason yesterday. He said, you know, just can't seem to get anything to fall our way. If there's a break that can go for us or against us this year, where in the past they've gone for us, this year they've gone the other way.
We have years like that.
Not fun. Now, We are located, about 70 miles west of Detroit. I've never driven from Detroit to Chicago, but if we're just west of Detroit, I think Kyle Busch is about in Chicago right now. He's that far out in front of second place.
Oh, it's only 4.5 seconds.
Might as well be in another state.
Exactly, might as well be in Chicago.
Not anymore.
Now 5 seconds.
Uh-oh. Caution flag, debris on the racetrack. With 14 to go.
He did not want to see that.
No, you don't want to see that when you're leading.
And a 5-second lead.
Everybody else wanted to see it.
Yeah. Is erased.
But again, debris. If there is some on the racetrack, they have to throw that caution flag and clean it up. We saw the Bobby Hamilton windshield where a piece of metal almost went through that plexiglass, that bulletproof glass, Lexan.
They just said whatever it was just knocked down into the grass. Is that it there?
Yep, there it is.
Down the bottom there on the apron.
I think that's what they're talking about right there.
I think one of the cars just hit it and dropped it down there.
That was nice of them.
So,
here we go. Let's see, what do we got left?
Lead erased.
Could be a single file restart, possibly.
Yep, likely to be. And just a little short sprint.
Short sprint. And the short sprint seemed to be working in Kyle Busch's favor. And long sprint.
Everything's working in his favor today, huh?
Don't see much weakness there in that 5 car.
I talked with his crew chief, Lance McGrew, this morning, and he said Kyle reported to this car felt just like Chicago. Remember the Chicago Busch Series race where Kyle dominated, then had a problem, and overcame it, and then had another problem, wound up with a bad day, but certainly had the class of the field that day, it appeared. What are they thinking on pit road, Matt?
Well, I've caught up with Tony Liberati. Rambo, Mark Martin's crew chief, what'd you tell your driver on the radio?
Well, I told him we just had a chance. There's going to be about 10 to go, and I told him to get up in that mirror and show him that Pennzoil car, and I'm pretty sure he's going to shudder because that's Mark Martin driving that thing.
45 career wins, looking for his first win since the year 2000. Marty?
The caution, not a welcome sight at all for the 5 bunch. This was not in the game plan, was it, Lance McGrew?
No, they never are. Well, sometimes they help you. I mean, there's some guys behind that are definitely help us. I mean, we jumped out to about a 5.5 second lead there. So the car's been so good on short runs all day. I'd hate to see something happen to us at the end. So knock on wood, everything will go good, and we'll get this thing finished up.
Of all the guys behind you, look at that list right there. Who worries you the most?
All of them.
That's the correct answer. Matt?
One guy they may have to be concerned with is the championship points leader, Martin Truex. You've got your guy back into this, Bono.
Yeah, we did. You know, we stopped 2 or 3, 4 different times and just mechanically tightened it up, aerially tightened it up, and I think we got it. I was hoping we didn't get that caution, you know, but hopefully it got us close enough to catch up with the 5 car and maybe have a chance to win this thing.
He'll restart from the 3rd position. Dave?
The 21 car is on pit road. Kevin Harvick reporting, it's so loose, I can't drive it. I'm just trying to keep from wrecking. They made a wedge adjustment. They also took some tape off the grill. And I don't believe they changed the tires. I think they just checked them.
They changed the air pressure in all 4 tires on the 21 car, trying to put the maximum amount of wedge or to tighten the car up as much as they possibly could.
Only problem is with 31 cars on the lead lap, and only about 10 laps to go,
It'd have to be some magic air pressure.
Yeah. So Kevin Harvick certainly in trouble for defending his title in this race. And Kyle Busch, perhaps 12 laps away from what would be his 5th win of 2004. Was he happy to see the caution? Not happy? What's he thinking from inside that race car?
Oh, 4. Everybody here's done exactly what Ricky said. An awesome job.
Talks about Ricky Hendrick, the owner of the car 5.
He's thinking he's got the car to win with. He just needs to get it done for the next few laps.
He's been getting some pretty strong restarts.
Okay, so what about it? You got a 19-year-old kid here, and he's got Mark Martin behind him.
Mark's going to have to keep on his toes on this restart. He's going to have to be right on his tail.
The 19-year-old kid, he is an unusual 19-year-old. Has a tremendous ability, plus the fact he's very cocky. You know, I think when he looks up in the mirror that the fact that Mark Martin is back there, I don't bother him. I can beat him. My car will beat him. Yeah, that's what he's thinking.
Kyle Busch trying to win back-to-back races in the NASCAR Busch Series. Last time that was done, 2002, by Scott Wimmer. Remember Kyle, a winner at Indianapolis Raceway Park a couple of weeks ago. No race for the Busch Series last weekend. So we'll see. We are on 1 to go, so they're coming to the green. It'll be a restart with 10 laps to go.
Yeah, Mark's got to be worried about that 8 car, too. I mean, I know he's trying to go for a win, but...
Marty, go ahead.
Well, I was going to talk about the month of July, which was awful for this 5 team. And I talked to Kyle Busch at Indianapolis Raceway Park, and he said that was a month, obviously, for them to forget, but it really got him down in his confidence. And the win at IRP did so much for him, just to rebuild the confidence. You got to realize he's 19 years old, so he loses confidence easily, he said. And when I got it back after IRP, he said, well, I feel like we can win from here out. You know, I'm so confident right now behind the wheel of the race car, and all it took was that one race, because they had a terrible month of July where it seemed like they couldn't do anything right, Alan.
5 straight non-top 10 finishes after having won 3 times already in the season. Here we go. Pace cars off. 10 laps to go. Fans on their feet here in Michigan. The veteran Mark Martin and the kid Kyle Busch.
Ooh, one car did not get... Oh, that's right. He's got gear problems.
Transmission issues.
There's Casey Mears, who had some troubles on the restart. Casey Kane trying to challenge him.
See, that time he could not control the restart as he did when he was leading the race. Right. It really cost him.
Oh, hang on. May not be done with that yellow flag yet. Don't put it away, Mr. Starter. Robbie Gordon, Bobby Hamilton Jr. Oh, how about 4 wide?
That was good.
That was good. Watch Casey Kane drive up on the outside of Jason Leffler. Or if he knows he doesn't have a radio, he wouldn't do that if he did.
Yeah. Casey Kane was loose that last 3-1-2 there.
Wow. I guess Casey can't hear the spotter because he just can't talk to him.
Right, Leffler there, yeah. He just can't transmit, but he's receiving okay.
25. Bobby Hamilton Jr. gets a little loose. 1 and 2.
It appears the race is from 4th on back as Kyle Busch has gotten away from Mark Martin. This is 4th. Casey Mears in the 1. Casey Kane in the 38, Robbie Gordon in the 55, and a bunch right behind him hoping to join in.
Well, he's got the blue car in front of him, so that may just help him a little bit. Pull a little bit of a draft by Casey Kane. He's pulled in front of that 38 car, Casey Kane, close a bunch of times today.
Sure has.
Jason Leffler in the 00 there in the mix. Who's that? Rusty Wallace.
How about that?
Trying to turn down. Okay, let's make a change here. I was going to the bottom. I'll go to the middle, maybe the top.
Figure it out when I get down to turn 3.
A little wiggle on Rusty's car. These guys are driving as hard as they can drive right now.
David Stremme with the triple lane change. Stremme in the 32 back at 11th spot. Great racing, just not for the lead.
Yeah, the battle for the lead is...
hang on, Jason. Good save.
I think maybe Biffle might have gotten in the back of Jason Keller.
22 car. Here comes Mike Wallace, Justin Labonte, 4 and 44. Try to take advantage of the bobble.
I don't know. Keller's car looks pretty loose.
And he's going to lose. Let's see, he was 9th last time by. And he's going to be 13th now. And maybe later.
He's still trying to catch his breath.
Something up with the 25 car, Marty.
Alan, he made contact running in the top 10 with those guys you were mentioning it earlier. You see the right rear damage for Bobby Hamilton Jr. in the 25 car. They might have a tire going down. Can't really see it right now, but when he goes by in a moment, you'll see the right rear fender damage, knock the bumper cover off the back, kind of flapping in the wind. They may have a right rear going down as well.
Yeah, that car got awfully loose that one time we were watching him there, Marty, so keep an eye on that.
Wow, look at this. Jason Leffler up to 6th. Trying to hold off Robbie Gordon and Rusty Wallace. Leffler as far back as 32nd at one point in the race.
Whoa, hang on. Is that Robbie?
Yep.
Yeah.
And Mike Bliss in the 20 car joining in. Bliss in the 9th spot. Bliss had played a little track position strategy earlier back at lap 44, got him up to 5th. Then he was shuffled back on the older tires, and now he's trying to pick his way back through a little bit. Marty?
You should hear the adjustments they made on one stop, Alan. They took 2 spring rubbers out of the spring, 3 rounds of track bar, and 3 rounds of wedge on one stop. He was extremely loose. They got the car a little tight for Mike, finally. Car's been actually not so bad since then. A little bit better for the guy. And they've had a great run lately. Team that's been on kind of a roll trying to win the Busch Series championship.
Mike Bliss starting the day pretty good bit back, 9th place in the championship standings. And you see his rankings in the race. He was as far back as 32nd.
I think most everyone has been except Kyle Busch, the scrub.
So 3 laps to go, and no challenge for the top spot. It's just a matter of whether it runs to the finish for Kyle Busch or not, and that's not because of fuel mileage, because he's got plenty of that to get him to the checkered flag. And this is a race for 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th spots.
Biffle's trying to take the spot away from Mike Bliss and go after Robbie Gordon. I think Robbie's gotten everything he could get out of that set of tires right now.
Biffle running as high as 3rd and 2nd earlier, and had a penalty and had to go all the way back to the tail end of the longest line when a tire got away from the crew on their last pit stop.
He was able to get by Robbie Gordon.
And a little break the draft move there. So white flag coming up. As Kyle Busch begins the final lap of this race, we check on another scramble for position. There's Kyle at the white flag. And this would be for 5th place. Casey Kane, Rusty Wallace, and Jason Leffler. 38, 66, and 00.
Well, that's got back in line.
What a performance today by Kyle Busch as Wallace tries Kane for 5th. Kyle Busch will have led 87 of the 125 laps in this race, and he held off the best in the business to get it done.
And I got to say hello to the folks in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, for the catch man, Dave Carreri.
That's all what it's about right there. Good job. Way to do it.
2nd straight NASCAR Busch Series win for Kyle Busch, and his 5th of 2004, as he wins today here at Michigan International Speedway. Boy, dominating.
Yes, that's the word. Yeah, you are #1 today. There's no doubt about that.
Marty?
Well, Lance McGrew, I know you were worried about that caution, weren't you?
You always are. I mean, when you got a car that's been that good all day, you're just... You know, we're pessimists by nature, so I'm sitting up on top of the box going, okay, what's going to happen? I know something's going to happen. The Lowe's car's just been so good. Those sponsors, they are such awesome people. I've enjoyed representing them. I'm enjoying this season, and it's been a lot of fun.
All right, you got a talented little race car driver. Go celebrate with him.
Thank you, sir.
Kyle Busch, winner today here at Michigan International Speedway. He does it by 3.8 seconds over Mark Martin, who came from last to 2nd. Numbers on the day for Kyle Busch, the 11th different winner in 13 NASCAR Busch Series races here in Michigan. The 6th race of this season that he's led the most laps. Pretty impressive young man.
Oh, he's so impressive. Just so talented.
And he does a pretty good burnout, too.
We'll be the judge of that. Right, Benny? Good donut.
So far, so good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, that's good.
When you can't see the car, that's good.
When you got that thing locked in one place. While Kyle Busch makes his way to victory lane, we'll salute Kyle, who's set to occupy our Reese's Winner's Circle interview momentarily when he gets there. Some superlatives on the day. This race here at Michigan today set records for most cautions, most caution flag laps, the slowest Busch Series race here, and the most cars finishing on the lead lap this season. 31. Championship standings with 11 races to go. Kyle eating into Martin Truex's lead by 20 points. It was 117 starting the day, 97 now. They head to Bristol.
Hornaday, even with his trouble, moved up one spot in the NASCAR Busch Series point standings, and here comes Kyle to the most revered spot in the world. But meanwhile, let's go to Dave.
With Martin Truex Jr. still the championship leader, a third place finish today. You happy with that or frustrated?
I'm real happy with that. Start of the race, I felt real good about our car. It was real fast and comfortable, and for some reason we just got way too loose, and we never got it fixed till that last time we pitted, and just needed more laps. You know, Kyle's car was so strong. I don't think anybody was going to touch him, but I thought I was going to get marked there at the end, and we had that caution come out, and then I was a little bit better at the end of that last run again. But great day for us. Had a good run at KFC. Got to thank them for all their support, and you know, everybody on this team. We never gave up all day, and we're going to do that the rest of the year. That's why we're going to go after this championship.
All right, let's go to victory lane. Matt?
And Kyle Busch scores the 5th win of the 2004 season for the 5 team. And he gets drenched. The win on the track, and the crew guys a victory with the beverage. What kind of statement does that send the competition to win in such a dominating way?
I can't see right now. Wish I could see the win. No, competition was great today. Everybody raced me clean the way that they needed to, and you know, I just got to thank all my competitors. They're great. Of course, Lowe's, Gladiator Garage Works, Shop Vac, Pella, Briggs and Stratton. We're still working on that one, man.
But what about the month of July to come back with back-to-back wins?
It's just awesome. It gives testament to these teams. I mean, they're an awesome team, and I just can't say enough about them. They're great. And you know, I got to say this once again for Papa Joe. We've heavy in our hearts, and Rick, of course, you're watching on TV. Wish we were here. But we got it done again, and we're here at Michigan, big 2-mile racetrack. And you know what? On the Cup side, Hendrick Motorsports has had a couple engine failures. That ain't nothing. Parts fail sometimes. Hendrick Motorsports has great horsepower, and that's what it's all about, HP.
Now, Kyle, what about the final caution when you looked in your mirror and you saw the Busch Series all-time leader sitting right off your deck lid, going to pressure you for the win?
Mark Martin's a great competitor, always will be, always has been. And, you know, so is everybody else out there. And we were just able to hold them off today, all of them. And, you know, I guess Truex finished third or whatever, so good run for him and his team as well.
First Busch Series start here at Michigan. Goes away with his first win here in the Irish Hills.
Pretty impressive performance by Kyle Busch and the Hendrick Motorsports team today here at Michigan International Speedway. Check how they ran today. In the Cabela's 250, it is Kyle Busch with his 5th win of the year. Championship leader with a 3rd place finish. Rusty Wallace and Mark Martin back to the front. They did get there.
Oh, Mark Martin almost made it all the way to the front. Just Kyle Busch had such a dominant car, he couldn't get the victory.
Top 10 for Mike Wallace. And a good day for David Stremme, who came back for an 11th place finish. 31 finished on the lead lap. Still looking at lead lap finishers.
Man, man.
Michael Waltrip after the late pit stop for the adjustment, and Kevin Harvick back there. And now the drivers who had troubles and failed to finish this race. Matt Kenseth taken out in the early crash. So that's it for today here at Michigan International Speedway. The NASCAR Busch Series race won by Kyle Busch. Tomorrow, 43 of racing's best line it up for the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series. We'll be here for Michigan with live coverage for you, starting with Discover Card Countdown to Green at 1:30 Eastern Time. The world's most dramatic police chases is next on TNT. It was all Kyle Busch today here at Michigan. He wins. You've been watching NASCAR on TNT. See you tomorrow.